Hi students, welcome on the channel. So in today's lecture, we are going to discuss a previous year question of the JEE Mains based on the rotational motion or the rotational equilibrium. So here we will also learn the concept of the how we do such kind of problem, like when there is a question about the equilibrium, the rotational equilibrium and the translational equilibrium, then how would we approach this question? So like this question is given, there is a L-shaped object made of the thin rod of uniform mass density. It's suspended with a string as on the figure. If AB is equal to BC and the angle between made by the AB with the downward vertical is theta, then what is that theta? Then theta we need to find out. And they have said that the AB and BC are made of same material and the length is also equal. So can we take that the mass of the AB and the mass of the BC is equal? Okay, so we have taken the masses equal. All right. Now, if this object is in the equilibrium, they have said that it is suspended and it is at rest, right? Okay. So it is in the equilibrium, right? What is the meaning of equilibrium? It is not performing any kind of motion. It is not changing its state of the motion. It is neither changing the rotational state of motion or the translational state of motion, right? Okay, so here I am talking about these two terms, the rotational state of motion and the translational state of motion, because this is not just the object, a point mass, it is a rigid body. So it can do the translation motion in any of the direction x, y or z. And it can also do the translational rotational motion. It can rotate about any of the axis, but because this object is in the equilibrium, so it means it should be having a translational equilibrium. All right, and it must be having a rotational equilibrium. Okay, when I say the translational equilibrium, then it is not changing its translational state of motion. It means the acceleration is zero. It means the net forces acting on the object must be zero. Okay, and then the rotational equilibrium means that it is not changing its rotational state of motion. It means the torque must be zero, right? Angular acceleration must be zero. That is why net torque must be zero. Now net torque is zero. You take any axis of rotation. It is not necessary just the hanging point. You can take anywhere. About that the net torque must be zero on this object, right? So using these two conditions, we are going to find out the net force, the angle tan theta relation for this question. Okay, so let me just draw it again. So we have the L-shaped object like this. Okay, all right, and this angle must be 90 degree, right? Okay, and here we have the angle theta. Look, if I take the point A, so at the point A there will be some tension T acting in the upward direction. Then at the center of mass there will be a gravity acting like this, and here also at the center of mass there will be mg acting like this. Okay, if we look at this body, so these are the total forces, all the forces acting on this rigid body. There is no other force, there is no x direction force. So if we look in the y direction, there is the equilibrium in y direction, so net forces in y direction must be zero. Net forces in the y direction must be zero. Then I can say that the T, let us take the upward direction force as positive, minus mg must be zero. So from here I can say that the T is equal to 2mg. So this is one relation I am having from there. Okay, now next is I need to apply the rotational state of the rotational equilibrium, because the rotational state of motion is not changing. Now I need to figure out which point will be Eg, right? So let us take, if I take this as the axis of rotation, then I think it would be Eg. Okay, you can also take any of the point. You can take the center of mass even, there is no issue in that. Okay, so I am taking about this P point, I am writing down the equation. You might see somewhere else the solution. They may take any other point as the axis of rotation. I am taking this P point particularly. Okay, so about P point, let us find out the torque. Okay, so about P point, if you calculate the torque, let us take the clockwise torque as positive and the anti-clockwise torque as negative. So clockwise torque is like this, that is positive, and the anti-clockwise torque is negative. Okay, so here both of the gravity would apply the positive torque, right? So torque about the P point is this mg. Of course it would act at the center of mass. Let us take the length of both of these objects is L and L, right? So then this perpendicular distance, this distance will become L by 2. Okay, so let me just redraw it again. The L-shaped object, we have the L-shaped object like this, and the mg is acting at the center of mass. Now look, this angle is theta, this angle is theta, then this angle is 90 minus theta. If this angle is 90 minus theta, then this angle is theta, isn't it? Okay, this angle is theta. All right, we got this angle. So then the perpendicular distance, if I extend this force, then this will be the perpendicular distance, isn't it? This much is the perpendicular distance, and this distance is L by 2. This point to, let me highlight it. Okay, this point to this point distance is L by 2, correct? So if I take this distance, so then that distance will become L by 2 cos theta. So then I can say torque about the P point is mg times of L by 2 cos theta. All right, and then this mg will also apply a torque. Here there is a mg, and this distance is also L by 2, but that angle is 90 minus theta, this angle. So that is why this torque will be mg L by 2 sin theta. Okay, why sin theta? Because if you take cos component of 90 minus theta, that will become sin theta. Okay, and then next we have the torque because of the T tension. T tension is acting in the upward direction here, and that distance is L, and this angle is again 90 minus theta. So of course this distance would become T sin theta, but that is minus T and sin theta equals to 0. Okay, now T is equal to 2 mg. Let us place the value here. So here we have, this is L. Okay, let me also put the value here. We have done just, we have missed L. Okay, so there is L because the perpendicular distance, this distance will become L sin theta. Okay, so here we are getting the mg L by 2 cos theta plus mg L by 2 sin theta, and then minus 2 mg L sin theta equals to 0. Now in the entire equation we can cancel out the mgl. Okay, so then we would get the cos theta by 2, then the plus sin theta by 2, and then the minus, this is 2 sin minus 2 sin theta equals to 0. So this will become cos theta by 2, and this side we have the sin theta, so 2 sin theta, so that 2 sin theta minus sin theta by 2, this side if we take, so then the value will be 3 by 2 sin theta. Okay, so 2 will be cancelled out, so then we are getting from here the tan theta equals to 1 by 3. Okay, so I hope we get the answer D is correct in this. Okay, so just understanding the solution is not the purpose of this video. The purpose of this video or the lecture is to understand the concept behind it. Whenever we get this kind of question, now you can get any other scenario there where the equilibrium is given. There can be just the equilibrium question related to translation motion, or there can be the equilibrium question related to the rotational motion, or both can be combined in that. In all of these scenarios, will form the two equations or one equation depending on the situation, that is from the Newton's law, Newton's second law. So Newton's second law, because the object is not accelerating, so that is why the net force must be 0. If the object is not rotating, then the net torque on the object must be 0. Okay, with the help of these equations we will solve the problems. And if you take any kind of JEE Mains questions nowadays, these questions are quite simple. They will be generally one formula or two formula based questions. So if you have done a sufficient revision for these, so either you take the JEE Mains 2025 or any of the paper, you would be able to do the any of the 20 problem easily. You can also watch the other videos available on my channel, and you can understand the concept. The main purpose of the watching video is to understand the concept, and so that we can solve the similar other kind of the problems. Okay, thank you.